So there are other types of bonds, and what are known as euro bonds and foreign bonds. So a euro bond is a bond that's basically issued by an international borrower. Let's say a company in England or France, and they sell it to investors like in the United States. And they sold them in they would be sold in dollars, okay, because they're being sold in the United States. And in your textbook they talk about this. And notice here, they're sold to investors in countries with currencies other than the currency in which the bond is denominated. A bond that is issued by a foreign corporation or government and is denominated in the investor's home currency and sold in the investor's home market. So this is a foreign bond. So there's a distinction between a euro bond and a foreign bond, okay? And they show you some here that got different names. A bulldog bond is the name for a bond issued in Britain, and a Samaria bond issued in Japan. Or Samaraya, I guess the pronunciation goes. All right, so the valuation of a bond is what's going to list the risk and return of a bond. And we're going to get to the equation soon, right? The risk and return of a bond. And basically, how to get the price of a bond, which is what we're driving toward, is the key inputs are going to be cash flow, timing, and risk and return and required return. So here's an example. You can go over yourself. It's pretty straightforward, and they're valuing different assets that they have. They're valuing common stock, and they're valuing an oil well and paintings. Okay, and they want to know the valuation of each. Okay, so you can go over this. It's it's quite simple. And basically it depends on the cash flows that you will get from each investment, okay? And this is in your book, so you can read this. All right, so here's the equation that starts out with this is the basic valuation model for something in general. This is a general basic valuation model. Whatever has value is based on the cash flows you're going to get from that particular item. So, for instance, your college degree has a value, right? And it has a value associated with it because you increase your cash flows, which means your salary goes up over time. And this is your required return or discount rate, okay? So basically, this is the value you assert to something in general. And we're going to see this equation with regard to bonds. All right, so here's another example. Again, going back to Cecilia's investments. And I believe this is for the common stock. And again, this is in your book, and you could, go over this. And you can see them using that valuation equation here. Okay. And here's again, now she's valuing the painting, right? It's an annuity, right? She's valuing the painting. Okay, so here's some valuation fundamentals for bonds now. So bonds are long-term debt instruments, all right? And long-term normally means more than a year, right? Used by businesses and governments. This is a good, broad definition. To raise large sums of money. And companies like to issue bonds because you have no say. There's no voting. They're just borrowing your money. You get the coupon, and when the bond matures, as it says here, you get your money back at the end of the year, and at the end of the period, whatever that may be. And bonds have a par value of $1,000. Okay, again, so here's an example, and I'll go through this example just to get the nomenclature down. All right, a 6% coupon bond, right? That's the coupon rate or the interest rate. Here's the maturity, 10 years, right? Here's the par or face value, and it pays interest annually. That means you get one coupon a year everyone should know how to do the simple math. 6% of $1,000 is $60. So you're going to get one coupon a year, and they show you how to do that, but that's basic math. and it's distributed at the end of each year. And at the end of the 10th year, you'll get your money back. Okay? You always get your money back, unless the company goes into default. So here's the basic bond valuation equation. And basically, this equation is similar to the valuation equation we saw before. And here is your annual coupons. Here's your cash flows. And here's your par value that you get back at the end. So they rewrite it this way. Notice this is an annuity of cash flow of coupons. This is an annuity, and this is the $1,000 you get back at the end of the period. So this is another way of writing it. Okay, there's many different ways of writing this equation for a bond. So this portion here can be rewritten this way, okay? And again, here's the money coming back, which hasn't changed. So there's a couple different ways to write the bond equation. So here's a nice example of that, and here they determine the price of the bond. So you'll notice if the required return on the bond is 6% and the coupon 6%, interest rates have not either gone up or down. So what that means is the bond stays at par. You notice that? If this rate went lower, this would have gone up, and if this rate went higher, this would have went down. Okay? Remember what I said about interest rates and yields. Okay, so here's a table timeline showing each payment being brought back to the present, right? And you can see you're doing a present value for each $60 coupon, and then you bring your money back to the present that you get back at the end. And if you add these up, you'll notice this comes out to $1,000 in this particular case because the coupon and the required return is $60. Okay, so that's how that all works. Now, they're basically using the present value equation. All right, and you could use Microsoft Excel to do that. And here they show a calculator, using a calculator. And I believe, yeah, here's the Excel spreadsheet that you can use. And you can see that the coupon interest rate and the required return is 6%. So here's the equation you would put in Excel. Okay, you don't put this in Excel. You don't put the 6%. You put the $60 in Excel, and you put the required return in Excel, and you just follow this pattern right here, okay? And if anybody wants me to show them examples of how to price a bond in Excel, which I'll do, just basically ask me, all right? So let me open this up rather quickly. And if you go to f of x right here, and I believe we did this in class, and here's PV, present value. That's how you get to the price of the bond.